All right, I started the recording. Welcome to our Abundance is More training, and I'm excited about tonight. We're going to have some fun tonight, and I honestly don't really know how we're going to pull it all off, but we're going to talk about probably one of our favorite, I was going to say favorite subjects, but really one of our favorite things to do in GIA, and that's to demonstrate our products. And I can see most of the people on the screen right now have done a lot with demonstrating products. And so what I'm going to do is kind of lead a discussion. And today we were talking about doing this, and some of the product demos take two people to do it, a subject and someone who's doing the demonstration. But the funny thing is that none of us have someone else in the house that could be the second person. Is that crazy or what? I have my wife all set up to do it, but she has a very bad cold and she just could not see herself doing it. So, Ming, with your help, and Sue and Karen and all of us, I'm hoping that we can describe it and maybe even show it somehow, some of the things that we do to help people feel what the products are doing. So I kind of set this up in three categories. And the first category would be using the products for on-the-spot experiences. And so that means meeting with someone one-on-one, or maybe having someone come to a meeting and then using the products to put on their body. Not doing a demo yet, but having them put the products on a place that's needed. And so I'm just going to throw it out there, and I'm going to start with you, Ming, in this category. And let me just tell you, the other thing we're going to talk about is doing balanced demonstrations and product demos, actually having people feel the products, because as most of you know, every single product has energy resonance technology incorporated in it. And every single product we can do these demonstrations with. And for me, I don't know about the rest of you, but for me, it's like the one thing that gets people's attention. I mean, you can talk about what it does and how people feel, but when you show someone, they get it pretty quickly. So Ming, let's start it out with you. When people come to your meetings, or when you meet with them one-on-one, do you provide them products? Do you ask them what's going on? And how do you do that?
Well, you know, John, we do something actually at meetings or get-togethers, or even if I'm meeting one-on-one. I think we used to call it kind of pre-talk. That it's really the conversations we have before the event actually starts, where we find out, who invited them, what are their interests, what did that person say to them, what are their intrigues, what issues are they looking to resolve in their lives, things like that. So we learn a little bit about them. I will say that sometimes people will reveal if there are certain physical issues going on at that time. Otherwise, when we do, people are beginning, to be seated or at the front end of a get-together or meeting, whether it's a one-on-one or a group. I will just ask who would like to, play with some of our products. We love to have these products, and I'm actually, of course, wearing the back brace. But we have at our last events, the Redefining Wellness events with Alfred and Linda, we were circulating 2 back braces. Everyone who sat during our presentations, we did 2 presentations, and used the back braces during their just while they were listening to the presentations, purchased them, and some of them multiple, because they purchased other ones for gifts for family members and things like that. So we also, I'll say the smart sleeves, the other smart sleeves are great. It doesn't matter which ones you have. I had a gal who came to a meeting who had broken her toe. She actually took the wrist smart sleeve, just slipped it over her sock, and by the end of the meeting had a testimonial for everyone and purchased a smart sleeve for her toes. So those are great. The smart card is also wonderful. Of course, I know we used to do it quite a bit. Some of these things go in and out of fashion. We used to do quite a bit where we would do the demonstration with the lemon. And I can talk specifically about that if you want to, but that's one where you have a lemon cut in half of that lemon sitting on the smart card. The other half is a way far across the room away from any GIA products, because even contact with other GIA products can influence it. So, and then what we would do is we would actually, at the end of the meeting, have people do, or at the end of, a time together, have actually people taste the slices of lemon that have been on the smart card, and then taste the slices of lemon that were not on smart card. And the ones on the lemon are very palatable, sometimes not as puckery and sour, almost like sweet, and very tasty. And then they would taste the other lemon slices and their eyeballs would, roll around and they'd pucker up and things like that. And that would just demonstrate. So a lot of the physical things, of course, that's just some that we do at meetings. Smart strips as well. And, we go through phases where we use more smart strips, smart sleeves. But the smart strips I've used many, many times, all of them at meetings like that. So,
okay, good. So I think we're going to come back to you because we're going to talk more about just some more details about how to go about doing that. I know, Karen, in your meetings, you do the same thing, a lot of demonstrations, but you do this idea about helping people to put products on. Is that correct?
We do kind of the same thing, as Ming said, if you have a sense of people, have an area that's bothering them, a back, an ankle, whatever, well, then right then and there we can put the sleeves on. And then we're typically having, a home meeting. So we're kind of going through the categories of hydration, energy, and nourishment anyway. So then we'll physically demonstrate, the products as well. We'll have someone do a cell phone test, a pendant product demo.
We're going to get to that. This is right in the beginning of the meeting, though. I want to talk about that. So you have people coming over to your house, and people are bringing their guests with them. Mm-hmm. And then you're gathering together. I know you have the products out. And do you feel, or do you see that the person that's bringing someone, they're putting the products on them, or do you find you having to do that?
I think it's both ways, because all the consultants there know that, that's our goal, is to get product on people, so that while they're sitting there for 40 minutes or whatever, they can experience it right then and there.
Yeah, that's good. And we do the same thing here. The meetings that we've had over this last year, people come in and we gather and we talk and we meet each other. I think Ming called it the pre-talk, but it just means meeting people and getting to know them. And so when you start talking about the products, people tend to tell you everything that's bothering them. And it's like, you almost have to be calm, because you get excited when someone says they have a problem. Really? Great. No, you can't do that, but you do feel that way sometimes. And then putting the products on them before the meeting, I think that's what we're saying. It's really simple. So you can do this on a one-on-one meeting with someone on just a one-on-one getting together with them. So you want to have some products with you. When you take someone to a meeting that you're attending, you want to have products with you so that you're not left out. Hey, can I borrow a product from you? Can I get a smart sleeve? This person has a back issue. You want to bring some products with you. And if you're having a home meeting with your team, you want to have some extra products just in case your team doesn't bring products for that person. But I can tell you it works. And I think, Ming, where are you? There she said, just by passing around the products, people purchase them. And we're talking about the back wrap, and that's pretty expensive. But when people get results, it's amazing. We had the same result here. People would come over with a knee problem or a back issue or just about anything, and every single one of them ended up joining us because they got results right then and there. And I think the most exciting part about people getting results at a meeting is that it just fires up everybody at the meeting. It fires up all of us to get a story that's happening right before our eyes. And so I think as we move into Mission 2020 and this new year, you're going to find that meetings are going to be critical to the growth of GIA because of these new experiential products that we have. Now, I say new, they're not brand new, but hey, people are really just beginning to understand the powerful demos that we can do and the results that we can get. I mean, Kedsy's out on the street wearing the back brace all the time and having record performance, with people purchasing the product and asking questions. So it's kind of a new day at GIA. So having meetings is going to be really, really important for us. Okay, so anybody else, we're talking about when people come over to your home, or you're doing a one-on-one, do you do any other things before you get into the presentation to help them have that experience? Anything we might have missed? Ideas? Nope, pretty simple, huh?
I just want to add something that Abby works in a dental office. I don't think she's on tonight. And she has a smart strip. And sometimes if just one of her clients happens to mention while they're in the chair, she'll get the smart strips and put them on. And I think you and I talked about that not only physically if they have something going on, but a lot of people are pretty stressed in the dental office. So at work, sometimes there's opportunities too.
So the products that we're talking about, smart strips, smart sleeves, even pendants, we've had a couple of great experiences with pendants. We have a couple of practitioners who have some unbelievable stories about someone coming in and getting a pendant right away and then seeing a change and the person feeling the change in their attitude and the situation they're going through. Anything else you could think of that could be used at the beginning of a meeting for someone to test out that I might be missing? Anything at all?
John, a quick little story. I'll just remind everybody. I've made Doc smile. We were doing a three-way Zoom with Doc, and he was doing a one-on-one and a three-way Zoom, shall we say, with myself, with a lady who had a teenaged, very high on the spectrum autistic boy. And he was really playing up in a loud way and, not letting us do our meeting in that. So it was suggested that we just put a smart card in his back pocket without him even knowing it. And it calmed him right down within 10 minutes. He was sitting doing his little thing in the corner, allowing us to talk with his mom, and she wouldn't leave without buying that smart card. Wow. So, it's an indirect way, shall we say, not actually on the person, but on the company. And it was just really useful and felt good to do, didn't it, Doc?
No, can't hear you, Doc.
Yeah, that was excellent example. It's watch him. He was standing by the door wanting to go, and he was nonverbal, so he had to act out everything he did, and he was literally just stomping, in their crude way. I don't mean that negative, but you know what I mean, in not very organized motion, just stomping and having a serious fit. And then the smart card went into his pocket, and within 10 minutes he actually was settled down playing with some little card things that he will play with at times. And it was amazing. Now here he is 15 or 16 years old. So yes, that was a good story.
That's a good one. Let me ask you this question. We don't know the number, but if you had to guess in your experience, what is the number or the percentage of people that actually do have a positive experience when you do this? Any thoughts on that? Ming, you've done it a lot. What do you think? Oh,
I want to say it's a high number of positive responses because people know whether it's something profound or something subtle, that's very, very significant. And I want to say we have done pendants as well on either kids who are super busy and that type of thing. Also adults who have said, can I just wear that pendant? I usually do it if somebody specifically asks something like that, but it is a high percentage of people who actually have an interaction with a product that engage in some way.
I agree. I know I've asked this question before, and it's in the 90s for a lot of people. And I know some of you are shaking your heads. And to me, being able to get a result that quickly is really beneficial to having people have a great thought about what we're doing and how we can help people. I have this other question I want to ask you. Oh, this is the question. So they've come in and now you are just meeting them for the first time, and they might be just seeing our products for the first time. Steve, you're freaking me out. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You've got a new toy. And so here's the question. When you put a circle on it, or you put a product on someone at a meeting and you've just met them, how do you set the expectation? Do you lower the expectation, or do you set an expectation that something is going to happen? Or do you say, hey, we don't know, everybody's different, we don't know what's going to happen for you, let's find out? Let me ask you that, Karen. What do you do?
Well, I think I start with everybody is different. And, you know, would you like to try this? Let's say it's an ankle. Or I had a friend last week, she said, my feet are just really bothering me. So I said, I don't know, you know, if my thing is it can't hurt, but I always try to slip in one story. But I had another friend and she was having some issues with her feet, and within probably a half an hour, she felt an improvement. So I try to always share a story.
Okay. So it sounds like you say, you know, we don't know what'll happen. Let's try this. And here's a story about someone else. What about you, Ming? How do you handle that?
Oh, actually, I'm at those meetings with groups of people, I'll be pretty casual, and I'll literally just hold something up as we're kind of sort of getting seated or getting organized and say, who wants to play with some of the GF, you know, products I brought some things. I'll just say, who's got something that hurts or is sore or whatever. So I keep it fun and playful, and I don't prep that or create expectations at a meeting.
Okay, good.
Another time, if I am going to lend product to somebody or do Operation Hydration, that's kind of a different, that's a different animal. But just at the meetings, we make it fun. You know, who's got something that hurts, who you know, wants to play with some product. And that way, it's true. If they don't notice anything, which is actually pretty rare, if they don't notice anything, there wasn't any big expectation set up. But I remember, we had like I said, a meeting. Terry Belaska had 3 guests. All 3 of them had profound results with the sleeves on elbows, like a tennis elbow, another injury, something he had, the broken toe, and another serious problem with an arm or had formerly been broken or something like that. All 3 of them had something, highly significant. So yeah, I keep it fun, playful. Who wants to, you know, play with some products?
Yeah, I think the fun, playful thing is really going to be more and more what you're going to find with our meetings going into 2020. People are going to come over and they're going to have a blast. It isn't going to be like a formal presentation like we've done in the past. It's really going to be shining a light on these products, what they're doing for people, and then opening the door about the opportunity. And so this concept of not setting the expectation that something wonderful is going to happen, I think is important, because I'm sure you can all remember when someone's invited you to a meeting or to somewhere, and you're worried that they're going to try to sell you something. Your mind is kind of like freaking out a little bit. And so some of the people coming are already in that space. And then when you're giving this high expectation that something's going to work for them, they're thinking, if it works, I'm going to have to buy it. And so they will look at all the reasons why it doesn't work. So that fun, playful concept, I think, is really good. Ming?
And one that's kind of cool with these products is you want to it's a little bit, it's casual. Sometimes they don't even remember they put the thing on their back or had the thing on their toe. And that's what creates these moments of, like Linda Cormier would say, delight and surprise at the end. You know, when Miriam's like, oh my gosh, my toe is hurt constantly and it stopped hurting. I didn't even notice it. And, you know, all the while they've been not only, you know, being entertained, but being educated, you know, if we're doing the video or redefining wellness, whatever the presentation is. So
yeah, we had a group here, and someone had a really bad knee, and we didn't even have, we took a smart sleeve wrist wrap and taped it to her knee, because we didn't have a knee wrap, right? So we just taped it to her knee, and she sat down, and so we went with the meeting. We're having a blast, sharing story after story after story, just having a huge, great time. And somewhere like 20 minutes into it, this person gets up and walks into the kitchen without any problem to get a glass of water. And it was like silence in the room. And she realized it when she got in the kitchen. She goes, oh my gosh. Oh my God, it was so fun. I'll never forget that.
John, we had a lady who was sitting there and she had actually said, oh, can I just stick that pendant on? You know, demo pendant. I think we had done the demonstration when we stopped the video at that time. She goes, oh, can I just wear it? She put it on. And at the end of the meeting, it was unbelievable. She raised her hand and she said, I have a testimonial. And she says, you know, I have, and she had talked, she's got a real condition with her lungs that was a big deal. She said, I was sitting here in agony and in pain, and I put the pendant on. Within 15 minutes, I'm out of pain. I can spread my arms. My chest is open. I'm breathing well. She goes, I'm not leaving here, you know, without this pendant. Things like that, you can't I mean, that set the tone for the whole thing. I mean,
And that's why meetings are going to happen in 2020. There's no question about it. Because of these situations that we're talking about, these are going to happen over and over and over again. Okay, Kedzie, you have anything to share? I know you came on a little bit late.
Oh, I was here the whole time. I just didn't want to have you guys see me multitasking. Anyway, you know how packing can be. Anyhow, I wanted to say that the majority of, I mean, I'm relating all this to everything that I do, whether it's at a booth or whether it was like the 13 or 15 straight live presentations that Steve helped me a lot at Marge's store or at Karen's store in New Jersey, or our own meetings that we've had here. I mean, it's such a combination, but even at booths, I've met people that I somehow really trust in the moment, perfect stranger. And I remember one fellow named Wayne, I had these little clipper things that were holding up a banner or something. And I clipped the smart strip on his shirt in the back. I said, please just walk around for half an hour and come back. I'm trusting you to come back. And he joined. And then, you know, other things happened from that, because I could tell he was holding himself like really tight. Mm-hmm. Same day, I think it was the same booth, this gal came, she barely had a life force. And I said, you know, I don't know you at all. I said, but I have this feeling that I have to give you this pendant to wear for 1 hour. And you're going to go into a lecture and you're going to come out and you're going to come straight. I'm like programming. You're going to go in, you're going to sit, you're going to come back, and you're going to give me the pendant back. And she came back. I didn't recognize her, and she joined. So even in those situations, it's not going to be a lot of times that, because I have lost things too at booths, but in a home or in a building, I mean, you can control that better, certainly to have play, as you say, Ming. But I've done that even with perfect strangers in the world of thousands of people around you, and it's mostly worked out. So I wanted to say about a funny thing at one of our Generation Zapped screenings. You know, when you say, well, I'll never do that again, quite like that. And so what I'm going to say here is, don't hand out the, you know, the samples like eye water and whatever before you're going to test people and randomly pick someone, because then you don't get the clean test, right? Okay. Just so happened that one person out of the ocean of people, I think we had 70 people that time in the room, one doubting Thomas had not had the water. And I literally said, okay, who here has not had the water? Kind of feeling like everybody did, because I was walking around watching everybody drink water, and one hand gets raised. And so he was the one who came and I tested him. And so, you know, if you're going to do tests, don't hand out the samples before. Mm-hmm. And the other sort of like, don't do that. Years ago, this gal, she just loves beautiful parties and all that. And she offered to have us use her home and invite some of her friends and everything. And I had no idea. She said, I'm going to put out a few snacks. Oh my God, it was like going on a cruise. And the people were more interested in the wine and the food and this and that. Never again. That was a never again. It was just too distracting. Yeah. to have all the goodies there that had nothing to do with why we were there. You know what I mean? So a couple of little things like that.
Yeah, we found that wine's probably not a good idea at the beginning of a get-together, especially at Karen's house. I can tell you right now, we've seen it happen. Okay, so Kedzie, you kind of lead us into the next part about what we want to talk about, and that's doing the demonstrations with people at a meeting or even on a one-on-one, the physical demonstrations that we can do. Some people call it muscle testing, probably not the best thing to call it. Balance demonstrations, product demos that we can use with our ERT products. And so the situation where people have come now, they're in the presentation, you might have shown them a video, you've told your story, and now we're hearing stories about the products, explaining the products, and you ask someone to come up and to be part of a demonstration. So the first thing, I think what you just brought up, Kedzie, is probably a good idea to not have someone who's already tried the eye water. And so it could make it a little bit different. And has that happened to you, Ming, where everybody's had a glass of eye water and it made it more difficult?
I would say it does. I prefer for people not to have the eye water out, but to actually have it for the demo when we stop the video or the presentation, we do that section, and then we bring somebody up. So,
Okay.
you know, I've been doing meetings and things like this for a long time. So I'm pretty adamant that they don't have eye water out just for everybody to drink. We just have regular water.
Okay.
So that's my suggestion, because definitely it will, they'll test stronger.
Yeah, they're already going to be charged. They already have the ERT charge inside them, so that's definitely going to change the outcome. It probably will still work, but it won't be as profound. So that's a really good suggestion. So now we're in the meeting. We've had some product. We've talked about some products, and now let's say we want to do a demonstration with the CellGuard. And normally somebody would get up with someone now and show you how we do it, but all of us don't have anybody in our house to do that. So, Karen, maybe we could start with you. How do you set up a demonstration with the CellGuard?
Well, we've talked a little bit about, what, ERT is doing and what ERT does, what our products do versus, mitigating the negative health pack. So the people are sitting there, and I always ask, does anyone here have an unprotected cell phone? And, who'd like to volunteer? And oftentimes that first person, just depending on their personalities, may be all over it or nobody wants to put their hand up. And then we just, have them stand up, and we, Alexa is kind of hard. I do the one where I have them put their arms out in front, locking their elbows.
Okay.
There's 3 steps to it. Their baseline with no phone. Then I have them hold the unprotected phone, and you can see their arms go up, and they're, I would say, and that I don't think I've ever had anyone that hasn't experienced a dramatic difference with the cell phone. And then I always have a loose CellGuard. You can hand the package or a loose, whatever you have, and we do it that way. And at that point, then sometimes other guests will be, well, I want to try it. I want to try it. So that's.
So let me ask you a question. I was kind of thinking about the next question, and I don't know if you said this, but do you I'm going to say the word test them, but do you check them their normal strength first?
Yes.
Okay. So you check where they are normally.
Without any phone.
At a baseline.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put their cell phone on their body, whether it's in their hands or in their pocket or somewhere around them, and then check them again. And usually there's a pretty big difference, right?
Yes.
Okay, throughout their whole body. And then you put the CellGuard on there and do them again, and it's like way stronger.
Right.
Right.
Can I ask a question, John? Is that one they put the arms straight, like out like this, and then you'll press at the same place, like at the wrist, you'll press up, you'll say hold, you'll press, and then that's their baseline strength of holding you down. Then if they hold the cell phone, they won't be as strong. Is that what you're saying? They won't be able to resist you? Okay.
That's correct. And I let them know on the count of 3, I'm going to be pressing up, and they're going to resist me.
And you press up like right here.
And I press up with an open palm, and I press up right at where their wrist, and palms are. I press up and let them know, this is, like you said, this isn't about who's strongest. It's just about getting their baseline and then seeing the difference, experiencing, with the cell phone.
And this, I don't see this as a strength demonstration. To me, this is more like a balance demonstration, because when you're pushing up on someone, they tend to fall back and their toes come up. And I tell the audience to keep an eye on that, to watch what happens. And then the next time you do it, the toes stay down and they're just solid as a rock. And finally, the other thing I do also is that I don't set expectations. I said, hey, let's check this out, see how it works for you. We never really know how it's going to come up, how it's going to come out, so come on up. So they're not thinking about what's not going to work or how it's going to impact them. They're open-minded. Ming, you had something?
Well, I was going to say one thing, John, is I asked people, I said, do you want to see how your body feels about your cell phone? I mean, just again, kind of playful or fun. And I'll kind of introduce this idea, it'll be a fun product demo. Your body cannot tell a lie is something like that. We're going to be using the same principles used in, a lie detector test. We're just going to be doing, some fun little a fun little demonstration using your body and our, your cell phone and our products. And so you just kind of engage them that way. And then whether we do exactly Karen's or a slightly different one, but it does help sort of engage them in understanding the reaction their body's going to get to their cell phone being weak or weaker or less able to resist. They can understand, wow, that's the effect the cell phone is, an unprotected cell phone has on my body. Now let's see what happens when, we do the same demo with using the GSL Guard. This is like a seatbelt for your cell phone. You know how you bought a case, we purchased your phone and you bought a case for the phone to protect the phone, right? Well, this is a way you can protect, we make sure to protect you. So.
The other thing too, Ming, I don't know if you do this, but we get so excited sometimes that we want to tell the audience what happened. And rather than doing that, ask the person what they felt and let them describe what's happening during the demonstration. And you just look at the audience and making sure that they're getting it. And it really works well when someone goes through that and they're explaining, they actually are talking, oh my gosh, here's what happened. And then you can back it up with, yes, that's what we find most of the time. Kedzi.
Yeah, I told this a couple of months ago, probably more than a couple of months ago. Time passes so fast that this young, tall, muscular, strapping guy, probably 23 years old, is fairly new to our networking group. And so being that I was the presenter, he was the guy I was going to pick because he had never seen it before. So perfect test, right? And I love testing big, strong people because when they get the results, it's even more profound, right? So I asked him right away, do you have any other wireless thing on you? Apple Watch, Fitbit, your key fob, I asked him all these different things, looking in people's ears, just because they forget that they have this stuff all over them, right? And he's like, no. And so then I'm testing him and he's weaker in his, what I call the ambient, because we're exposed anyway, but I call it the ambient strength. And he wasn't, the way I expected it. Well, then at some point he goes, oh my gosh. And he pulls out his key fob out of his pocket and he had a fairly new car. And we put it aside and man, he was, rock strong, right? And that later on, maybe a day or two later, that's when I put the 2 little mini decals on my own key fob because I was noticing that I kept forgetting to take it out of my own pocket because it was hot here and it was summer and I didn't feel like carrying my big purse and it was sweaty and I just shoved it in my pocket and I forgot that it was in there and I was getting, achy lower body. And as soon as I put those on there, anyway, everybody they forget. We just, in New Jersey, we did this YMCA thing with lots of kids running around. It was a bizarre thing. And, parents there, it's an area where people are well-heeled. And these 8-9-year-old girls are wearing Fitbits already. And the parents think that's the greatest thing since, sliced whatever. Oh, we can provide this for the kid. And, it's just amazing to me that people are covering themselves with all of these. I mean, if you pick up the current Time magazine, you'll see all the new inventions. Every single one is a wireless device for 2019, the new inventions. Every single one is a wireless something. So you got to ask, what else do you have in you, on you, around you that is not just a cell phone? Because you won't get a good test.
There's one other thing I say usually when I'm doing this with someone. And so when we're doing the demonstration, a lot of times they're thinking about their strength. They're stronger because their balance is better. And it's true, their balance is better and they do feel stronger. And what I want to explain to them is that it's not just that you're stronger. It's that this wireless device is impacting every single cell in your body, every single organ. And so what you're feeling as strength is just your whole body becoming what it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to feel. And that's the way most people don't ever get a chance to feel anymore. Trying to take it away from just this kind of trick that we're doing to really impacting their body in a positive way.
Well,
Ming?
John, can I just say something to back up what Kedzie just said? And I know we're getting a little bit off on, we're talking about different products. Sometimes these are things that I'll actually have like on the table. And I know we don't necessarily demo them all, but absolutely everybody should, have a sliver or universal guard on their key fob, on their garage door opener. And absolutely, if they happen to use a Garmin or something like that, either the decals or I actually have both, the guard. So things like that too, just really nice to have on your demonstration table, things like that, products, things that they hadn't even maybe thought about. So.
Okay, great. I like that a lot. So,
Or even pictures of them if you don't own all those things.
Absolutely. Yep.
okay, so the next thing then, so now CellGuard would be a product that I would demo every single time. Every single person has a cell phone. It's impacting them in a negative way, and it works. I'm going to say it works 100% of the time. Now, Ming, if it doesn't work in Karen or any of you, sometimes I've heard that if people are dehydrated, that it's possible that the demonstration won't work. Have you seen that or heard that?
No.
The only time that I've seen where somebody is the opposite is, and I learned this from Luann, who's an expert for 35 years. She taught me things about this, that they have, okay, this is going to be one of those weird terms, and I can't describe it exactly, but it's called the reverse polarity. And she's got this little movement that she taught me to do, and it flips them back. It just resets them, and then you're back to testing a normal person. Now, I can't show you that here, but that's the only thing that I've ever seen with all the tons of people that I've tested.
So it almost never happens. So you can be confident when you do this that it's going to work. It just works. But again, you haven't set it up for an expectation to happen. So if it didn't work, it's just okay. We just don't know how it's going to come out. Ming?
And yeah, I think, John, when you do, just like you had mentioned before, when you're asking them, so what did you just experience? So you do your baseline. How do you feel? Oh, I feel pretty strong. Or they need to, because people believe what they say. They don't believe what you say. If they say it, they will believe it. So as long as you walk through, as you go through the product demo, you're asking them what their experience is, then they say it, they've engaged their brain and said it, and everyone in the audience hears it and sees it as well. So if somebody's holding out and they feel their baseline and they go, okay, I feel pretty strong. And then you get on an unprotected cell phone. And, then you say, well, how did that feel? Well, I didn't feel as strong, or it seems like you were able to push my arm down. Whatever that language is, if they can actually explain it, and then with a protected phone. Yeah. Well, I felt like my feet didn't topple as much, or I felt like, whatever words they use to describe that experience, that really do help. And it helps the audience as well.
There's one more thing. Okay, when you're testing guys nobody wants to be weak. It's just a fact of life. I don't care how you're a woman, kid, whatever, nobody wants that to happen. And guys, especially guys who work out, they want to engage and enlist a lot of other muscles, especially across their back if you're using their arms in a certain way. So my advice for that is to have a couple of different ways to test where they can't really do that. They can't really muscle you and, win, if you will, because that's in their mind. They're going to win and they're not going to go weak. So to have a couple of different ways to do it and show them, hey, this way, that way, fingers, legs, whatever you're going to do, but learn a few different ways that you can show them, hey, this is really, really real. And guess what? It's difficult sometimes to have people take instructions. Some people learn by hearing, some people learn by seeing. So some people just cannot sort of engage, like, don't use that muscle, just give me your arm, but to know a few ways to test is a good thing.
Okay. I think that's a great idea. And I think we're going to have to end up doing a video just about the different ways that we go about doing this. And we'll just add that to this training. We're still at the meeting now. So we've done the CellGuard. Would you do a pendant at each meeting for sure? Yep. All of you would do a pendant. Okay. Karen, I know you do a pendant. How would you do a pendant? How would that come out for you?
For me personally, I just stand next to the volunteer who wants to experience the pendant, and I have them cup my fist in their hand, and I, let them know I'm going to try and pull them on the count of 3, and for them to resist me.
So this is more of a balance demonstration again, right? So I'm just going to show you so the hand is like this, correct?
Yes,
And then
and
you
then I come and put my fist exactly.
Put the fist in here, and you're standing next to him, and then you just push down, and they end up going off balance, correct?
Right. And all of these, I always ask everyone to have their feet together. And when Kedzie was talking about the big, strong guys, because they want to like spread their feet, get in a crouch, they're going to make sure you can't move them. So I kind of have everyone, okay, and same position, feet together, and then, then give them, usually my pendant, I usually just take off and let them use, and then, have where they're oftentimes I'm on my toes. I mean, I can literally push so hard that my feet are coming up.
Yeah.
And
how tall are you? How tall are you?
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
I didn't say what do you weigh. I just said how tall are you? Okay. So the pendant. Okay. So what you're doing is you're getting the baseline again to get where their baseline. Then you put the pendant on, do it again, and what normally happens is their balance is much improved, right? And Ming, do you do it a different way?
Actually, I think I like that way, and that was the way Linda Cormier did it when she came as well. We've actually done one that's a little bit more precarious, where they put the arm out and the arm to the side, and then they stand on one foot. And what we've liked about it is for people, obviously, who can do that, it is very obvious and quite significant. And it also removes the temptation for people to really think it's about strength, because it's entirely about balance. Mm-hmm. And so, but, occasionally, if you're working with somebody who has had an injury or can't balance, with the demo that Karen is describing is absolutely stellar. And key is always making sure that they stand with both feet literally together. I mean, they really need to do that. One of the other things I always emphasize is I always say, you'll notice I'm going to stand in exactly the same position every time I test you. If I'm in front of them or beside them, that kind of thing. And I'll just say those things so they don't have any objections later. What?
Do you use the word test when you're talking to them?
I'll do a test or a demo, or while we do this. Yeah.
Okay, so one thing.
I will also say things like with the guards, I'll say, now, while you see that our, technologies are patented and scientifically validated, and here's, some of the, validation, I'll say this is a way to actually, demo the products with your body. Sometimes if I want to really take the mystique out of it, I'll say this is the parlor games part, and get a giggle out of them or something like that. This is where we just have fun and see how your body responds, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, so I'll sometimes use tests, sometimes demo.
Well, you said fun probably 20 times already. And really that's the important thing, is it's just having fun. That's all we're doing. And I love the way you set that up. One thing I want to say before we move on is that before you do any demonstration, especially if you're going to be pushing on someone or doing anything, you want to find out from them if they have any difficulties, any problems. So you might say, hey, I'm going to be pushing up. Are your shoulders? Do you have a bad back? Because you don't want to injure someone. And I can just tell you, Ming, wasn't the demonstration you're talking about, but it was kind of like that at a meeting, and it was at a hotel, I think it was, and there were a lot of people there, and somebody fell across 3 groups of chairs because someone was a little bit too rough on them. And it kind of took away the demonstration part of the whole thing. You just want to be cautious with people, right? It's not this shrink thing. It's more subtle than you think, and having a little practice. Okay, so finally, do you all do eye water? Do you do a muscle checking with eye water? Okay. So pretty much we're talking about 3 demonstrations. Is that right? Or do you do more than that? 3. Okay.
I can do more. I can do up to 5. I mean, if we do eye thrive and cleanse and
that's the question. I know we could do more, but do you do like you do 5 or 6 in a meeting? You keep going?
The smart sleeves. I'll be throwing the kitchen sink because I'll say, look, it's like winter. You had your scarf, your glove. I always say, you wouldn't just go out in 0-degree weather with a hat on and think that you're going to be good. It just, and then they go, oh, okay. They start visualizing. If I just have a cell guard on, that's not enough in the entire environment. So let's see
Okay.
how many layers are going to help you. I had one gal, she's young and she already was diagnosed with something, can't remember, but some autoimmune thing. And it took until we had the cell guard, the pendant, some eye water. I think it was 2 sleeves on her shoulders and something else I can't think of. Maybe some eye thrive or something. It took that many layers to have her finally respond strong.
Okay. So would you suggest, I know you might do more, but if there was a minimum number, would you do what we've just talked about and leave it if we only had a minimum amount of time? Okay, good. Anything you want to say about doing the eye water that might help someone that's never done it?
Me?
Either anybody.
Oh, since I'm talking, I used to at the booths especially have the same water that I'm activating, whether it's like, let's say Crystal Geyser, because that's a common one over here. I will have a non-activated Crystal Geyser so that I'll show this is the same water, except, you know, this one's, you know, so I won't use the water they're drinking. They might have their own water, but sometimes I might. They might want to see it with their own water, but if they have no water, I use the non-activated to sample it. I'll use the little cups, and then I'll give them a little cup of, and I'll always say, look, I want you to have an experience as you're drinking it. I want you to feel it, and I stretch the words. I want you to feel it in your mouth. It's not a taste, it's a feel, and I would like you to tell me what you're feeling. So again, it's that engagement of, ooh, I'm experiencing something even before I know how it's going to affect me, really. So it's kind of a whole series of things together, and then I test them.
Okay, so I just want to get clarity. So you test them after they drink their own water or the other sample, and then you do the same thing once they drink the eye water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Ming, do you do that also in your meetings?
No, I have in the past, and when there's time for that, it's very effective because people very often can taste it's a different mouthfeel when it's before and after it's been activated. So it adds a new dimension. So if there's time, one of the things I have learned is that sometimes less is more. So, you know, not doing every demo, not doing many. So I do it sometimes and other times not.
Okay, Karen?
Eye water.
I know that I think I've seen you like give out samples of eye water. Is that right? Have you done that in the past?
Me? Give out samples?
Karen, I'm talking to Karen.
Okay,
Have you
yeah.
samples of eye water out at the meeting?
I hold my eye water back as well because I do always do an eye water test. So I don't have any water out until after we do the test. Then I can, you know, then we make it available. But because I always do the water test, and I actually prefer when somebody walks in with their own water bottle, I'll generally say, I see you brought your water. Would you like to see if we can see a difference between the two?
And so when you do this demonstration with eye water, after that's done, do you give everybody eye water at that time?
It's available for everyone. Usually before I hand out the eye water, I do the eye thrive and cleanse as well. And those would be the samples that I would hand out. But then, yeah, the eye water is available to everyone.
Okay. So you'll demonstrate eye water, eye thrive and cleanse and give it samples of that. Ming, do you do that?
I don't. I have in the past done samples of eye thrive and cleanse. We do it more sort of for like a special little, you know, gifty thing or a little drawing or something like that. But I also tend to wait. I want people to have watched, first of all, learned about the value of the eye water, then watch the demo. And I like it actually when they approach us afterwards, can I try some of that water? And of course, we try to time our presentation so that we end with the formal presentation. Now the formal presentation's over, but there's still time on the clock. I don't say that, but there's plenty of time. So now's the important part where you get to ask questions, do demonstrations with the products yourself, and we'll have people who say, can I try the water? Can I try the water? That's when, you know, consultants who are there work with the people who are, you know, coming on board. So it's something that you have to like make an effort to get. That's just
Okay.
what they do. And people will make an effort to get some if they really want to try it.
Do you use the spray bottles at all in your meetings?
We have. I've done them in demos as well. I mean, because you literally could spray someone and they'll be stronger and better balanced. Again, out of simplicity, I've learned, as one who used to just do too much of everything all the time, less is more. That's why we usually do the 3 demos, and of course, people have been sitting for 45 minutes or an hour, with products on their sleeves or our cards or these. So the totality, there is a lot that's happened. So
Ming, I'm going to ask you this question because I know there are going to be people watching this video and have not done any of these demos or really don't even know what the products can do. And you just talked about using the spray bottle and doing a demonstration. Can you just briefly talk about why that works so well?
Because there are energetic benefits to the eye water as well, and to the eye glow, that they are, it is ERT charged, and just like the pendant, just like the smart sleeves, just like the smart card, just like the harmonizers, those frequencies cause the body to respond in a positive way, in milliseconds. So we will be physically stronger or more mentally clear or better balanced just from interacting with the energy resonance technology in whatever form.
Great. I think that's it for what I wanted to do tonight. I think it's been a really great discussion on how to demonstrate these products. And what I love about our energy, it shows how much fun this is. I mean, there's just nothing better than someone getting a result, no matter if it's demonstrating the product on their back or doing a demo where you're testing out their strength or checking their balance, and they get a result, because it just creates curiosity. And when you can do that in front of other people, it's mind-blowing sometimes. But I can't tell you, the thing that I think I enjoy the most is at a meeting when someone uses a product and they discover at some time during that meeting that something has happened, because it electrifies every single person. And people will go home and people will join us, and they're going to want to come back to bring people to see the results and to have a blast doing what we do. And if you can have a lot of fun building a network marketing organization, there's nothing better than that. Helping a lot of people feel better. I mean, every single person really, almost everyone, something hurts. People hurt, or they don't have energy, or there's something going on that you can help with ERT and with our Emmerich technology. So you want to add anything before we go, you guys?
I do. Yeah.
My cat's demonstrating the iris really well.
Sorry?
Go ahead, say what?
Cat's demonstrating the iris really well.
Oh my gosh.
They always do. They always manage to show us. Because of the number of booths that some of us do, somebody inevitably is going to be a little bit proactive, and I can't wait when they come to the booth and they say, oh, I have this, I bought this, whatever. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. I get so excited because I want to see it. If there's something I haven't seen yet, I want to see it. And then I always, politely ask them, would you mind if I see how it works for you? And, and it's just, they're always like a little bit proud of what they've chosen.
So let me just explain. You mean they bought something somewhere else and brought it to you.
Right.
Okay.
I call it a doodad because I don't want to give it that much, credence. But anyway, that's just me. But I'm excited that they've been proactive. So I'm honoring them on that level, that, oh my gosh, you're aware, that you tried to do something. So, I get all excited to see how it's working for them. And okay, I've never seen anything work yet like what we have. So it's, then you have to deal with wherever they are in that process. But initially and then years ago, because around here we have a lot of opportunity to do shows that there's people that have, crystals and stones and all kinds of shungite and all these things that they have around here. And I developed this thing a number of years ago. I don't want to set up any kind of, resistance or anything. And I love rocks, believe me, I love them. So I just tell them, love your rocks. Keep loving your rocks. But you got to do this too. So let me show you, so I just show them how you can have it all. Don't do one and not the other because, but just love your rocks, continue to love them. So I set up this whole sort of fun, friendly, happy scenario where it's not adversarial at all. And, some people are very open and other people are just bought into what they bought. And that's just the way it is. And, so, but just know that there's a lot of things out there. And you'll learn that most of the websites, if you go and investigate them, are using key phrases that have nothing to do with what they're selling, but it has everything to do with what we're selling. That's the nicest way I can say that. And I thought that was very creative.
Well, I think finally at the end, the meeting is over and you're getting together with someone and hopefully helping them to get started and join you. And I can say that if that doesn't happen at the meeting, the people that I invite to a meeting are definitely going to go home with Operation Hydration. They're going to take some products home with them. And we're going to be connected for the next week as they go through the process of trying the products out. And by the end of that time, it's very likely that they're joining the team. It's very likely. So that's it. Karen, thank you for helping tonight, and Kedzie and Ming and all of you for all your comments. And I appreciate you for doing this. Now this video is going to be available. I'm going to make sure a lot of people get to watch this video. And then we will do a follow-up video where we will have someone else in our homes that we can actually do the demonstrations with so that we can show them. That was the plan, but didn't work out tonight. Appreciate all you guys. Thanks.
Thank you, John.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.